Welcome to Stoic Mindset. Most men don't lose people because they weren't enough. They lose them because they chased too much, spoke too soon, or tried too hard to be understood. They text from emotion, not from power, from fear, not from calm. And the moment you text from fear, you lose the frame. When you learn to control your emotions, your messages stop sounding desperate. They start sounding detached, disciplined, and magnetic. Because the truth is, power isn't in the words you send, it's in the energy behind them. And when your energy is still, controlled, and unbounded, you instantly stand out in a world full of noise. This video is not about manipulation, it's about emotional mastery. Because once you master how you communicate, you'll never chase another person again, they'll start chasing you. So today, I'll walk you through 3 messages that silently shift the power dynamic. 3 messages that make them think, feel, and remember you long after the conversation ends. 3 messages that make them chase you. The first message is simple. It's the message of calm acceptance. You send it when they pull away, when they stop replying, when they act distant. Most people panic in that moment. They start asking questions. What happened? Did I do something wrong? Why are you ignoring me? But not you. Not anymore. You send just one calm, composed line. I understand. Take all the space you need. That's it. No emotion, no follow-up, just peace. Because when you stop trying to hold someone, they start feeling your absence. This message tells them you're not dependent on their attention. You're detached from outcome. And that calm detachment is what hooks them. Not the words themselves, but the silence after. They expect you to argue, to fight, to explain yourself. But when you respond with acceptance instead of resistance, it confuses them. They start wondering, why is he so calm? Why isn't he fighting for me? And that curiosity begins the chase. You see, emotional control is the rarest form of power. People are addicted to reactions. They push, hoping you'll pull. They test, hoping you'll crumble. But when you stay still, when you let them walk and simply say, take all the space you need, you remove their power to hurt you. That's when they start feeling your absence. Not because you disappeared, but because your calm exposes their chaos. Silence, when it comes from strength, becomes magnetic. The second message carries a different kind of weight, the energy of growth. You don't send it to get a reply, you send it to show evolution. Something like, I've been focusing on myself lately. It feels good. You didn't ask anything. You didn't explain anything. You simply revealed that you've shifted focus. Most people try to make others miss them by pretending to move on. But pretending never works. True attraction happens when you genuinely start investing in yourself, when you become unavailable. Not out of spite, but out of purpose. That short sentence, I've been focusing on myself lately. It feels good. It carries calm confidence. It shows emotional independence. You're no longer trying to impress. You're just expressing where your life is headed. And that's what makes them think. Because once you redirect your energy inward, they can feel the difference. Your vibe changes. Your tone changes. You stop needing them to validate you. And that absence of need becomes intoxicating. They start remembering the version of you that used to chase. They start comparing it to the version of you who now feels free. And freedom, real, grounded freedom, is irresistible. You see, most men never send messages like that because they're afraid of losing attention. But attention earned through silence lasts longer than attention begged for through words. Because when you become your own source of peace, people sense it. They realize they can no longer control you emotionally. And that realization that you've become centered, stable, and self-sufficient triggers something deep inside them. Now they're the ones wondering what changed. Now they're the ones replaying old moments in their head. Because the calm you project without trying has more pull than any compliment or confession ever could. And that brings us to the third message. The most powerful one of all. No message, silence. The strongest thing you can ever say is nothing at all. Because silence forces reflection. It creates space for the other person to feel everything you've stopped expressing. When you used to text constantly, they got used to your energy. They expected your good mornings, your check-ins, your reassurance. But when you go silent, not as a game, but as a boundary, they begin to feel the weight of your absence. At first, they'll act on, they'll post stories, they'll laugh online, but behind that performance, their mind starts racing. They start wondering why you stopped reaching out, why you're suddenly okay without them. And that's when the tables turn. Because silence, when backed by true self-respect, is louder than any message you could ever send. You're not punishing them. You're protecting your peace. You're not ignoring them. You're evolving beyond them. And when that evolution is real, when you genuinely find comfort in solitude, they can feel it, through the absence of your words, that the chase begins when you stop trying to be understood. It begins when you detach from needing closure, from needing replies, from needing validation. The moment you accept that you don't need anyone to complete you, you become whole. And wholeness is magnetic. Most people text to fill silence, but you let silence do the talking. Because silence, to the emotionally immature, feels like rejection, but to the emotionally strong, feels like power. You have to understand, people don't chase what's available, they chase what's rare. And emotional stability is rare. Calmness under pressure is rare. Not reacting is rare. That's why when you send calm, composed messages, they stand out in a sea of noise. You're not competing with other people. You're competing with their expectations of you. When you act differently, when you don't chase, when you don't argue, when you simply say, take your space, you break the pattern they're used to. And the human mind craves what it can't predict. Every message you send should come from power, not panic. If you text out of fear of losing them, they'll feel it. But if you text out of peace, because you've already accepted whatever outcome may come, they'll feel that too. And peace is far more attractive than desperation. In a world where everyone's trying to prove something, the man who doesn't try at all becomes unforgettable. He's not cold, he's composed. He's not arrogant, he's aware. He knows that people's emotions are temporary, but his peace is permanent. So he texts less, listens more, and only speaks when his energy is calm. He doesn't send paragraphs explaining his worth. He doesn't beg to be chosen. He simply exists in quiet confidence. And here's the paradox. When you stop seeking attention, you get more of it. When you stop texting to impress, your words suddenly hold more weight. When you stop chasing, they start craving your energy again. Because people always return to what feels grounded. Your messages don't need to be poetic. They just need to reflect your inner stillness. A simple "I understand" can carry more gravity than 1,000 emotional words. A calm "take your time" can create more attraction than any confession of love. Because the energy of indifference, not cold indifference, but peaceful detachment, is what pulls people back in. And when they come back, you won't need to play games. Because you'll already know your value. You'll realize that the goal was never to make them chase you. It was to find the version of yourself that no longer needs to. That's the essence of the Stoic mindset. You don't react, you respond. You don't beg, you breathe. You don't chase, you attract by becoming unshakable. So remember, the first message is calm acceptance. The second is quiet self-growth. The third is sacred silence. Together, they form a language stronger than words, the language of emotional control. When you master that, people feel your presence even when you're not around. They think of you not because you remind them, but because your energy lingers. And the man who can detach with peace will always be remembered longer than the one who clung in desperation. This is Stoic mindset. Stay silent, stay strong, stay centered, because the less you chase, the more they feel your absence, and the more they realize they can't replace your calm.